Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Black Lightning Season 4 review series. And today I am going to be talking about Episode 9, The Book of Ruin, Chapter 4, Lyding, which I have just finished watching. And this episode was absolutely fantastic. One of the best ones of Season 4 so far. And we are getting closer and closer to this season wrapping up, which sadly is going to be the final one. And it's just getting really good. You know, there was a couple of episodes that were pretty good, but this one really knocked this one straight out of the park. And I absolutely enjoyed this one. We've seen Anissa get a brand new suit. We've seen Jen obviously now taking on a new face. She's going around doing her thing, and Tobias Whale is still on a mission to tear down the Pierces, and obviously no one is still able to clear Jefferson's name. This episode was just absolutely fantastic, and certainly one of the best ones, if not the best one I've seen so far for this fourth and final season. So with that all said, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Episode 9, The Book of Ruin, Chapter 4, Lyding. So this episode opens up with Jefferson, Jen and Anissa going into the lab to celebrate a breakthrough with Lynn, but they suddenly find themselves trapped in the lab. Lynn turns out to be the one holding them hostage and gassing them to take away their powers so they can be a normal family again. Now this was interesting because Lynn's been up and down this season, but for a moment she looked like she just turned full-blown heel in this episode. And we also see they are literally causing him to hemorrhage horrifically, and they start spitting out blood while Lynn's just standing behind the plexiglass while her whole family's just being gassed. You know, that was a very dark moment, in my opinion, and, you know, certainly one of the darkest I've ever seen for this show. But it turns out it was actually just a nightmare, and that Lynn is actually telling her therapist about the situation, but the therapist suggests that it could be her subconscious telling her that her family doesn't need fixing, and if she continues to try and fix them, quote unquote, it could hurt them. Interesting way to open this episode up with a nightmare sort of scenario, and wow, great way to kick off the episode. So we see Lightning show up and surprises Uriah going live on her Instagram to make a plea for the school's music program fundraiser. Though after the broadcast, Lynn seems to be in pain, and it appears that she can hear the original Jen in her head saying that this power is too much. At the police station, Detective Shakur is notified of the broadcast, and he gives Black Lightning a heads up that the chief is planning to target Lightning next. That's not the only problem though, as Ismail has also been watching Lightning from the bushes. Giving the threats that Jen and Lightning faces, Jefferson tells her to turn off her Instagram and lay low. Jen, of course, refuses to listen, which will come back to bite her later on. Jen ignores this, however, and when Lightning is messaged by Uriah wanting to meet her to thank her for her help with the school fundraiser, it turns out not to be Uriah, but it's actually Chief Lopez who sets her up. There's a brief altercation, but Lightning manages to escape. Gamby also makes Anissa a new thunder suit, one that will maintain her density for a period of time, even after she disengages her powers. Later, Anissa is at the medical center and encounters Darius, who is very freaked out and says they've locked him out of the database containing the information about the phony cystic fibrosis treatment. He says he will get what he's already learned and then he's leaving town. However, when Anissa goes to check on him at home, she finds his body and he's been brutally murdered. Lynn goes to work in her lab at the medical center and discovers that she can't get in. All of her privileges have been revoked and her research has been taken. The security guard privately tells her that it was a special agent Mason who ordered it. She finds out they are claiming the money Jefferson apparently embezzled, paid for her research, which is why they took it. Later, Lynn is at home when she is arrested by Agent Mason, who shows up for her violation of civil rights. She is taken to the Freeland jail, booked and stripped down, all on Tobias's orders. This moment involving Lynn, where she was completely stripped down, was certainly one of the darkest and probably one of the most uncomfortable moments. I mean, it was well done, but at the same time, it was very, very uncomfortable to watch. But it was all part of the story arc, and I thought they did a very good job of handling it. And, you know, as we all know, Tobias is on a one-man mission to finally dismantle the Pierce family once and for all, and it looks like he's succeeding. So we see Gamby and TC fill in the Pierce family about Ismail, and they realise he's a major threat. Black Lightning, after meeting with Detective Shakur to get a little time to do so, taunts Ishmael into coming to fight him, saying that Freeland is his city. After the conversation with TC the week before, we see Painkiller show up, presumably in Freeland, to face down one of the people involved with Tobias. He takes out the henchman, and after a bit of good cop, bad cop moments with Khalil, gets the man to admit that there is a hidden ledger. Once Painkiller gets the location of ledger that details how Tobias set Jefferson up, he kills the man. Tobias pays off the director Minho Vista to get the device Lauren made. Vale gives Tobias the vials of her power that Lynn made. After visiting his shrine to his dead sister, Tobias activates a combination of devices and vials. Anissa loses her powers just as she is nearly hit by a car outside of Darius' house. Black Lightning also loses his powers midway through a fight with Ismail. TC also loses his powers while in a sanctum with Gambi, and perhaps most catastrophically of all, Jen is out flying on patrol when her powers fail and she starts to fall uncontrollably to the ground below. And that's how episode 9 ended, and that wraps up my review. Overall, excellent episode. You know, the way that Tobias activated the device which caused everybody in the Pierce's family and friends to lose their powers was an interesting twist, and, you know, one that I didn't see coming. And, you know, Jen obviously has fallen from the sky before, but she was saved. But this time, there might not be anyone to save her. So I'm really, really pumped to see how they're going to address that in the next episode. But overall, this was a really good episode, and I'm wondering how this is going to follow that up. You know, this has just been absolutely fantastic. And, you know, Lynn getting jailed and stripped down, very well done, but at the same time, a little bit uncomfortable for my liking. But overall, this was an excellent episode. One of the best, if not the best episode of Season 4 so far. And I'm really looking forward to the next episode. So that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 9? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on Lynn being jailed and stripped down? Did you find it a little bit uncomfortable? And also, what about Tobias activating the device that caused everybody to lose their powers? What about Jen falling from the sky? Do you think she could survive this fall, or do you think she could potentially be falling to her death? And also, what's your thoughts on Anissa's new suit? Do you like it, or do you prefer the original? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Black Lightning Season 4 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 10, which I am very much looking forward to talking about, especially with the way this episode ended. So until next time, take care everybody, and stay safe, and once again, thanks for listening.